Kendall Jenner's home in danger again.
Billie Eilish dragged on Twitter.
Uh-oh, and Ariana Grande beat Taylor Swift and Beyoncé.
All that and more on today's Daily Hollywood Rundown. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Daily Hollywood Rundown. Welcome back, I'm Sussan Morad.
And I'm Emile, and it's Junior. I got so excited because I was like, oh my God, it's Wednesday. And you know what? We'll save Wednesday for tomorrow.
Well, in my mind, I was like going, what is Tuesday? And I was like,
right.
Oh, nothing.
Oh, I'm not here tomorrow for Wednesday.
Oh, that's okay. We'll get through it till Thursday.
Okay. But guys, sorry.
Sorry about
I got
that.
so excited. It is what
It's
it
okay.
is.
We can make something up for every day of the week. Actually, you guys should tell us in the comment section while you're here if there's anything that you think we should have for Tuesdays and anything
Can
in
Tuesday
particular.
be Thump Day? Okay, we'll work on it.
Tuesday, something for Wednesday, something for Friday. I don't know. Now we're just overdoing it. You guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, leave us comments, do the things. Enough of us chatting. We're going to jump straight into the tea, kicking off with The Weeknd and that whole Like Selena song.
So it looks like The Weeknd just unregistered his cryptic new single that fans speculated would center around his ex-girlfriend Selena Gomez. And not gonna lie, we're kind of confused and bummed. So you might recall, and if not, we'll remind you, but last week we reported that The Weeknd registered a new song with the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers called Like Selena, under his real name, Abel, as both a writer and performer. Now, naturally, everyone thought the song would be about his ex-girlfriend, Selena Gomez, especially since she just dropped a breakup song about her ex, Justin Bieber, just weeks prior. The Weeknd's name was added next to the registration list. However, this week, the name and the list are completely gone, which makes things even more interesting. All last week, The Weeknd had been busy teasing new music, posting to Instagram a blurry photo with the caption, "The fall starts tomorrow night." He later released a new song called Heartless, and just 4 days ago dropped another new song called Blinding Lights. Although each of the tracks are absolute bangers and did not disappoint because when does The Weeknd ever do us wrong when it comes to music? It appears that unfortunately there will not be a Selena-inspired song for now anyway. Honestly, I'm not upset. I'm glad we got some new music from him, but I don't need a Selena song. You know, I think I need all parties involved to just get on with their lives, and I think they all are, I can't talk today. They all are doing that, so if we got it, it would have been cool to hear what he had to say possibly, but at the same time, I don't need it necessarily.
Oh, we don't need it, but I think there is definitely maybe, hopefully going to be something Selena inspired on the album. I don't think it's a long shot to think that might be the case. What happened to that particular song, why it just disappeared from that listing, is kind of confusing, right? Like, I wonder whether, I was thinking about it earlier, and I was thinking, maybe he thought nobody would notice, and all of a sudden there was all these articles all over the world about it, and he thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna take that, put that somewhere else until later. I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. Exactly. So moving on to our next story, Kendall Jenner appears to have been in danger again in terms of her home from an intruder, but thankfully this story ends well. TMZ reports that Kendall Jenner got an uninvited guest at her home again. And this time the intruder tried to use President Donald Trump's potential impeachment as a story as his cover to get close to the model and intrude into her home. According to TMZ's law enforcement sources, they report that a 27-year-old man named Richard Eggers, quote, scaled a neighbor's fence near Kendall's Hollywood Hills home just before midnight and made his way to her property. Luckily, he didn't get far though. Reports state that Kendall's security team hopped right onto the intruder once he got to Kendall's driveway, and they held him there until the LAPD arrived to arrest him. And that they did, booking him with misdemeanor and trespassing. Apparently though, this man was already known to Kendall's security team because this wasn't their first run-in with him. You might remember that back in September, there were reports about a near intruder at Kendall's home. At the time, it was this very same man. Her team spotted him on the security cameras, but he got away before anything could happen. We're thankful to hear that this time he wasn't successful in getting away. But you know what? Probably not as glad as Kendall is. It's unclear if she was actually home at the time when all of this happened, but if she was, she didn't come outside during the whole altercation. Glad he didn't get away, glad they caught him, but it must be so terrifying for her, for anyone that deals with unwanted intruders. But it seems like celebrities obviously are always targeted by just, crazed fans or just unwanted people.
No, it has to be hard. And I forgot who we were talking about. It was one of the 1D members.
Taylor? Oh, yeah, because this has happened.
They were just saying, that it happens a lot to them. And they were like, to the point where, I don't know if they had to move out. But anyway, point being, it is a terrifying situation. And it's one of those things where, as especially working in the entertainment industry, we obviously learn a lot of facts and details about these celebrities, but as fans, sometimes they take it to the extreme. They want to know every single detail, and we have those obsessed fans who like want to know where they live and like, are they home? It just gets really dangerous. So like you said, I'm glad that they definitely caught this guy, but I don't know about you, after it's happened multiple times at the same home, I think I would kind of want to be like, I might need to find somewhere else to live.
Yeah, and I can understand why Kendall does have like her really big dog as well, because I mean it's horrible and it's terrifying, and I feel like no matter how much security you'd have at your home, you're always going to be like extremely cautious about these kind of things when they've happened a bunch of times.
All right, so one of our faves, Billie Eilish, she was recently on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Great interview, however, she's facing some backlash on Twitter, and let's just break it down. So let's just remind you guys that Billie is 17 years old. She does turn 18 in a few weeks, but Billie, who has said in the past that she doesn't enjoy doing press, was recently on Jimmy Kimmel's late night talk show. She was there to discuss her new music, and while they were on the topic of Billie's age, Jimmy wanted to play a little game that would test her knowledge of the year that he turned 17, 1984. Essentially, Jimmy would say something that was popular that year, and Billie would say if she was familiar with it.
So the point I'm trying to make is you're younger than I am.
Okay, so it's not really a game, more so just a 52-year-old man pointing out that a 17-year-old girl has a different knowledge of pop culture than he does. But it was innocent enough. Billie said that she knows who Madonna and Cyndi Lauper are, but she also admitted to not knowing some of the other famous musicians she brought up. But there was one answer in particular that for some reason got the whole internet talking and subsequently trolling.
Can you name a Van Halen?
Who?
I'm gonna start crying.
Okay guys, I get why people might be upset if Billie says she never heard of someone like Madonna or Michael Jackson, but Van Halen, and you could tell that Billie was maybe a little uncomfortable with the whole so-called game as well.
You making me look so dumb.
It's not a matter of being dumb. If you ask me questions about 1943, I probably wouldn't know the answers either.
Jimmy tried to reason with her in understanding why she wouldn't know some of 1984's pop culture moments, but people took the Van Halen clip out of context and ran with it. And some people were actually mad at Billie for things that are totally out of her control. Admittedly, probably more likely Van Halen fans, like this person who said, yeah, it was long ago, different time when musician stars were considered people who could actually play instruments and sing songs without a production team writing for them like Billie. To which I say, wow, you clearly know nothing about her. She and her brother Phineas write all of their own lyrics and create the beats, but as much as some people were trashing on Billie, there was plenty more that were coming to her defense, like people getting pissed off that Billie Eilish, not a rock act, doesn't know who Van Halen are, a rock act. It's like getting angry at someone who plays horror games not knowing what Imagine fashion designer is. Get a grip. And this person who said, let's all laugh at the American Music Award winning Grammy nominated 17-year-old. And of course, there was a plethora of just okay boomer comments. Well, after hearing about the reaction, Eddie Van Halen's son, Wolfgang, who is the band's current bassist, came to Billie's defense with this tweet, saying, if you haven't heard of Billie Eilish, go check her out. She's cool. If you haven't heard of Van Halen, go check them out. They're cool too. He went on to add, music is supposed to bring us together, not divide us. Listen to what you want and don't shame others for not knowing what you like. You know, it's funny because even in 1984, I guarantee you, like even right now, there are going to be people who name an artist or somebody in 2019 that 20 years from now, 30 years from now, we all could have been living at the same time. They may not know who we're talking about, granted.
It's ridiculous.
Obviously, you would think if we were talking in let's say 2053, and they're like talking about the biggest names from 2019, somebody said Billie Eilish, you would think that somebody would know. However, there are still people right now who don't have a clue who Billie Eilish is. Like, everybody listens to different things.
I just think this whole thing was ridiculous, the fact that she didn't know who Van Halen was. And the way some people, not all people, were reacting, and granted they were probably Van Halen fans. I mean, like, she wasn't even born anywhere near that time. Not to say that that's the reason she shouldn't know or doesn't know, but it's like, you can't know every single artist in the world, and I think people are just trying to find something to pick on Billie, because let's just be honest, she's pretty damn perfect in so many ways, and I mean, like, don't even go there. If you want to pick on Billie when it comes to this, just, I don't know, go listen to Van Halen or something. I don't know. So as the year is coming to a close, there is some lists that come out usually this time of year, and Spotify just released a bunch of their very highly anticipated lists, which are their Wrapped lists, which show the top performers of 2019 on the platform, as well as the decade.
Ooh.
Earlier today, Spotify News tweeted, "It's the moment you've all been waiting for. Here are the top artists, songs, albums, and podcasts of 2019 on Spotify. Hashtag Spotify Wrapped." And like we mentioned, these are the lists Spotify puts together to show which artists dominated in the year in various different categories, including the most streamed artist, the most streamed tracks, and the most streamed albums, plus much more. Well, when it came to the most streamed artists of 2019, Post Malone took out the #1 spot, followed by our girl Billie Eilish and also our girl Ariana Grande at #3. However, there was another category and list that Spotify put together that really got our girl Ariana Grande emotional, and in particular, where she was placed on those lists. Ari took to Instagram to share this post and lists with the caption, "I keep rereading this to make sure it says what it says. I didn't even debut till 3 years into the decade. Thank you for listening and caring. Appreciate and love you always." And as you can see from the post, it lists the top 5 most streamed artists of the decade global, with Ariana placing 4th place and the only female on that list. The other list is the most streamed female artist of the decade global, and according to the list and Spotify's website, Ariana takes the #1 spot, followed by Rihanna 2nd, Taylor Swift at 3rd, Sia at 4th place, and Beyoncé at 5th. Yep, even though Ari didn't debut until 3 years into the decade, she took out the #1 spot for the most streamed female artist of the decade. Congrats, Ari, and fans and celebs were also sending their congratulations in the comments section, including Lauren Jareggi with a bunch of fire emojis and Courtney Chipolone with Jesus Christ, to which Ari responded, "It's all for you, baby girl." And it was the same sentiments on Twitter, with fans flooding her tweet with love and congratulations, like this person who said, "Do you ever think about the trajectory of your career and how insane your rise to success was? It's truly incredible and you deserve every bit of it." As well as, "I'm so proud of you, and you know what? So are we." This is so incredible and such great news. And in particular, like Ari was, and there was multiple different lists that Spotify put out, and there was like different artists on all of them. And Ari was on a number of them, but this one in particular, well, these two in particular obviously meant a lot because it's over a decade, which is such a long time. And even though she did debut 3 years into that, but all the artists on that list, I mean, are all my top 5 favorites as well.
They're all incredible. And the thing is, like, this is such a huge accomplishment. Obviously, obviously at the end of the year, when you get on the top of that list or on that list, that's cool. Like, oh, for the year, like I was streamed. But for the decade, is an insane accomplishment. And, you know, regardless, I saw there are a few people beefing in the fandoms. Of course. But I will say, let's squash the beef and just be proud of everybody who actually made the list, because that's a huge accomplishment within itself.
Yeah, it is. And as we mentioned in that last story, music should bring people together, you guys.
All right, guys, it is time for the final rundown. 1 minute 30 starting now. Ethan from Lizzie McGuire is engaged. All right, so we know the launch of Disney Plus has brought out all of you Lizzie McGuire fans. Can anyone say, hey now, this is what dreams are made of? Anyway, Clayton Snyder, who played Ethan Kraft, just got engaged to Allegra Edwards. He posted a few sweet posts, and fans are sending them all the love.
So much love. Now, moving on to our next story, the 2019 Fashion Awards were in London last night, and so many of our faves were there. That's right, some of the biggest stars were there, but one of our favorite moments was Janet Jackson's appearance, because she was actually there to present Rihanna the Urban Luxe Award for her Fenty brand, and it was all a surprise, you guys. Such a sweet moment, and the internet was also talking about Rihanna's dress, and of course, baby rumors have started again, but we're not gonna go there. She will let us know if and when she's pregnant, and at this rate, if Rihanna was like pregnant every time people speculated, she'd have like 20 children already, and she doesn't.
Literally every other week, but we must move on because Liam Hemsworth's new girlfriend is addressing their relationship. So as you know, Australian actress Madison Brown is rumored to be dating Liam Hemsworth, and when she was asked about it in a recent interview with Confidential, well, unfortunately, she refused to answer and give away any deets. Womp womp. She said, "I'm not answering that question. My rule is not talking about my personal life." Well,
fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Gin Day and multiple other hashtags were trending today. Happy birthday, Jin, from all of us here at Clevver.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, that is it for today's episode of the Daily Hollywood Rundown. We'll be back here tomorrow, but before you go anywhere, we have some questions. Emile, do you have a question?
Yeah, I want to know what you guys think about the whole Kendall Jenner thing. Would you want to stay in that house after multiple people have tried to get in, or would you be like, I'm gonna head out? Let us know in the comment section below.
Also, what are your thoughts on this whole Billie Eilish Van Halen thing? Are you just like, people need to calm down? What are your thoughts on the whole debacle? I really want to know.
And we will be back here
Tomorrow. Bye, guys. But wait, before you go anywhere, we have an episode right here from yesterday of DHR, and it's a really good one. You should watch it.
Yes, and also, guys, while you're, in this little box here, you should probably click that subscribe button because it's fun to click a button on a video, right?
Right.